start of this race. He's ahead of Bobby Bowser. 2 Fords up front in this race tonight. A real good field of cars as we get ready to get going in the short track part of the season for the 1995 schedule. A little bit of smoke there from car number 10.
That's Glenn Brewer in the 10 car. You see him going underneath Todd Kuhn's Mid-City Truck Repair Olds in 69 there. So Brewer showing a little bit of smoke, but seems to still be running up at speed. Billy Thomas in the Gigolo chassis car there just behind him.
Take a look a little closer here. We see there is a good bit of smoke coming on. Looks like it might be coming off the left rear tire.
Yeah, it doesn't look to be a major problem for Glenn Brewer. He's a real veteran of this series, the 1990 STP Prestone ARCA Rookie of the Year. He's been in the top 10 in the point standings every season. Off to a great start this year. Looks like he'll be in the top 5 in the points running through the early part of the season.
Roadworks Automotive Products, a new sponsor on car number 10. And get your paper and pencil ready, because later in the show, we'll give you an address where you can write in for a new part of the program here on the short track races. We'll be having the mailbox segment, which will also be sponsored by Roadworks Chemicals. Bobby Bowser out front right now. He's in the Quality Farm and Fleet Ford. And Doug Reed seems to have fallen off the pace just a hair.
Oh, you got to believe he's going to sit back and maybe watch Bobby Bowser lead a little bit. Bowser now, oddly enough, only racing since 1988. He becomes one of the grizzled veterans of this ARCA Supercar Series, with people like Bob Strait and Bob Keselowski no longer running every single race chasing points. Bobby Bowser becomes an elder statesman. So Doug Reed lets him go by. Here's Bobby Bowser, and that's a pretty familiar sight, seeing the 21 Quality Farm and Fleet Ford leading the field in a short track race.
He's up front, but for the first time this season in 1995, so far with our 3 super speedway races coming into this event tonight, we see Mike Wallace leading the points, and of course Wallace not here competing tonight on the first short track race.
Oh, Bob Hill got into the left rear of Doug Reed. They were racing for second position, and you see Hill, he's down on the inside, still moving, but he's the caution is out.
Yep, the yellow flag is out, so we'll be under caution for the first time here. See if Bob Hill can get going. Bobby Bowser, your leader in the early stages here, but it appears that Bob Hill may go down a lap here. We'll have to keep our eye on car number 46. Bowser is going to pass him, so yeah, I think Hill will go down a lap.
Actually, Ray, since Bowser has already taken the caution back at the start-finish line and Hill was up on the speedway, he'll probably be allowed to go on by him and get back on the lead lap.
So we'll check with timing and scoring and see what the situation is with car number 46. Bobby Bowser is your leader in the early stages here at the Pensacola Five Flag Speedway, the Southern 200. More racing in just a moment. Don't go away. The official fuel of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series is 76 Unical gasoline. Go with the spirit of 76.
Well, indeed, we were looking to see what would happen with the 46 car. Bob Hill and Larry Clements' Chevrolet, he had spun down off the speedway, was back up on the racetrack, and leader Bobby Bowser indeed had taken the caution. Therefore, Hill will be on your lead lap as we restart.
Ready to go back to green flag racing. The pace car is in, and here we go. Bobby Bowser, your leader. Doug Reed doing a real nice job of holding on to second place here.
Boy, he sure is. He's doing a good job, the youngster. You know, he's had some tough things to learn this season. You go right out of the box to Daytona, then you go to Atlanta, then you go to Talladega. I think this probably a little more suited to what he's used to running.
And incredibly, at Talladega, he sits on the outside pole of the race and breaks a motor before they even get the race started. So some real bad luck. Hopefully he can turn things around tonight. Randy Churchill coming on strong there. And this was an excellent qualifying run for the Canadian out of Windsor, Ontario in the Beaver Express number 44.
Well, you know, Randy won his first series race last year at I-70 Speedway, and he's certainly capable of running up front. Got a lot of experience on the short tracks in Windsor, Canada. In fact, he's past champion at Checkered Flag Raceway there in Windsor. And he came onto the series and said, I know I can field my own short track car. I'd like to run and try to be competitive. Last year he drove his father's Ford, Jerry Churchill, the veteran ARCA competitor, and they won the race at I-70.
So Churchill's one of the father and son teams that have won over the years, and another one is right behind him, and that's Frank Kimmel, who his father Bill Kimmel won on this series, and a brand new sponsorship on that car, which is fielded by Terry Shirley. Papa John's Pizza now on the 02 car.
Coming at you right there, you can see the yellow car is Jody Guerra in the Dan Faldor Stankin Construction Oldsmobile. Outside of him is Bob Shack. Boy, Shack's had a great season so far in '95. The pole sitter at Daytona for the ARCA 200. pole sitter at Talladega for the Food World 500K.
Shack running strong and doing well in the points, Jason. You know, Ron, this is the first short track race of the season. It's kind of really silly to talk about points already because we've got 21 races in the Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. But I'll tell you what, every race you go to, every point you can get becomes very important.
It's as you see the 11 car, Andy Hillenberg, it's funny you mention that because Andy Hillenberg is a guy that was at Daytona, and he was kind of wandering around thinking, you know, I'd like to do this. I'd like to chase this series. He drove Ken Schrader's Chevrolet down there, the AC Delco Chevrolet. He won the race at Daytona. That gave him enough incentive to say, I'm going to put my own effort together. I'm going to run every race. I'm running for the championship.
That's great to have Andy along. He's driving car number 11 tonight. That'll be his number throughout the rest of the season, we presume. And racing continues on this half-mile racetrack. A beautiful wall around the Pensacola Five Flag Speedway now. Tonight's Southern 200 is underway, and Frank Kimmel putting chase on Doug Reed. But, boy, it seems like Bobby Bowser has stretched out quite a lead here on second and third place. Yeah,
Bowser's Quality Farmer Fleet Ford now way ahead of the Long Lewis Ford of Doug Reed. Papa John's Pizza Car, Frank Kimmel, he runs there in third, and Churchill is now fourth. Long Lewis, the Ford sponsorship. Oh, we got contact.
Oh, there's Andy Hillenberg, and him and number 44, Randy Churchill, get together, and we see a number of cars making contact there. Roger Blackstock in car number 12 smashed into the number 57, which is John Stratman's car. So a couple of cars making contact up there, and we see Blackstock's car up there on the top. And to take evasive action, Randy Churchill goes down pit road.
Well, that's going to hurt those guys. A couple of them are going to go a lap down here as the leaders come back by.
So Randy Churchill brings out caution number 2, and we'll be back with more racing in the Southern 200 in just a moment.
Back from break, and there's Roger Blackstock's Kraken Bar Pontiac. Tough break for Roger. He put a 95 Pontiac body on it. Was really fired up. He got a lot of good suspension pieces and parts on that car. Thought he was really going to have a good run here. One of the fastest cars in practice yesterday as we get ready to restart.
Ready to go back to racing. Blackstock's car is in the pits, and also we see the 09 of Bob Dodds. He's in the pits with the hood up, so we'll have to try to get a report on that. And the number 13 of Jody Guerra setting in there in the pit area. So a couple of cars that not necessarily out of the race yet, but certainly out of contention here as they're sitting on pit road, and we're back to racing.
You know, I'm not sure if the handle is just right on Doug Reed's car. When we saw Bob Hill try to get underneath him and they had some contact, Reed's car seems to wiggle just a little bit coming out of the turns, and the guys now seem to be driving underneath him. There goes Bob Schacht, and here comes
Donnie LeDuc in the 55 got underneath him there going into the turn, and boy, I was close. I thought they were going to have some contact, and LeDuc now is on the tail of him. But look at this. Bowser has lost some of that lead that he had because Randy Churchill now is right up on his tail.
Randy Churchill is really a guy that enjoys racing. He comes to the racetrack, has a good time. He's brought some new people down with him, the Dart Machine and the Beaver Express people that are helping sponsor his car this year. He really gets fired up about running these ARCA Supercar Series races, especially the paved short tracks.
Well, I look on the rundown right now, and we see that Churchill is now a lap down because of that incident in the up in turn number 4. So he is a lap down. It looked to me like he was running for the lead, but that's not the case. So Bowser, your leader, and Kimmel running second, and Bob Schacht now has moved up into third position. But boy, look at Bobby Bowser's car. This is one strong Ford underneath him.
Sure is. Those are probably the fresh tires on Churchill, going to try to get back around Bowser, get a lap back. Another driver that lost a couple of laps in that incident, a tough break after he got repairs made, was Andy Hillenberg. We talked about he needs to have a good race tonight to overtake Mike Wallace for the point lead, but there are some other guys right behind him in the points. Hillenberg would like to have a good run tonight, but he's down a couple of laps nearly going.
You know, last season, Frank Kimmel made a valiant effort at chasing down Bobby Bowser in the points. He ended up second in the 94 series season points. But boy, I'll tell you, if Bowser can run like this throughout the season, everybody's going to have trouble chasing him down. He may be on his way to championship number 3.
2 titles already, the Bondo Mar-Hyde Series Championship trophies on Bobby Bowser's mantle. For his father, Jack Bowser, that's 5 Bondo Mar-Hyde Series championships. 3 as a driver in the mid-60s, now 2 as a car owner here in the 1990s.
So So Frank Kimmel running well in the 02 car. We see Frog Hall from Blue Springs, Missouri, in the number 61 has gone down another lap. So the handling certainly off a little bit on Frog's number 61, but Bowser's car is hooked up. Kimmel running in second, and the field's starting to spread out a little bit here in the early stages.
Yeah, it is. I think probably you're seeing a lot of people just trying to get used to getting ready to run this racetrack. 250 laps is a long time to run. And again, we talked about Terry and Helen Spears' nice, big, spacious half mile here. The concrete wall that they installed around the racetrack really improves the aesthetics of it. It's a beautiful racetrack to look at. Sitting up in the tower and looking down at it, it's really a scenic thing. It used to run off the back stretch, and there would be kind of a swampy woods area back there. You don't have that anymore. Everything's enclosed, and it's really a sharp-looking place.
They've done some great improvements here to this facility, and we're glad to be bringing you the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series racing from the short tracks throughout the season. Check up on some great racing as we travel all around the country, going west to Nebraska for the first time this year at the I-80 Speedway out in Omaha, and we'll bring you the standards that you see each and every season. The races like Kilcare Speedway and Flat Rock, Michigan, those little bull rings where that really gets tight.
Well, we see Doug Reed. He would love to be able to go on and win this race because the prize money is mounting for the AC Rapid Fire Spark Plug Pole and Win Challenge. It's $500 per short track, $1,000 per speedway. If the same driver doesn't win the pole and the race, it rolls over and continues to accumulate. If he could put his Long Lewis Ford in victory lane, he'd pick up the AC Rapid Fire bonus tonight.
And that'd be $2,000 in the pocket of Doug Reed, so we'll keep our eye on that Long Lewis Ford. He would certainly like to have that extra bonus in addition to his purse money from AC Rapid Fire Spark Plugs. Right now, though, he's going to have to do some work to chase down Bobby Bowser because this Quality Farm and Fleet Ford is really hooked up.
Still got a lot of cars on the lead lap. Give you a quick rundown. You've got Bowser is on the lead lap, Bob Shack, Frank Kimmel, Donnie LeDuc. Mark Gibson having a good run in Charlie Newby's car. Glenn Brewer, Billy Venturini. The 52 car of Ed Dixon, Billy Thomas, Perry Tripp, Bob Hill, Harris Devane, and Dill Whittemore. All those cars still on the lead lap.
So lots of cars still in contention tonight in this 4th annual Southern 200. I'm Ray Dunlap and Ron Drager bringing you the broadcast this evening. Glad to have you with us here. A good crowd on hand and a very humid night tonight, Ron. I don't think people were expecting this kind of weather when we come to the Panhandle of Florida.
Well, especially those, most of our teams are from the Midwest, and you come down to Florida and you kind of expect the sunshine, but you don't look for this kind of, it's a very humid heat. Whoa, way up high.
That's Ed Dixon in number 52, went way up top, and then underneath him went Glenn Brewer and also the car number 46 of Bob Hill, and on the inside of him is Phoenix City, Alabama's Billy Thomas in car number 22. So Ed Dixon really going up to the wall there in Ken Schrader's entry.
Ed Blum in the Ed Dixon, in the Blum Construction and DuPont car. You know, he's used to driving the dirt tracks. Maybe he's looking for a cushion.
He's going to run her right up there to the rail as we see two of the rookie contenders of 1995, Dill Whittemore and Harris Devane running there, and right behind them is car number 6. That's Perry Tripp from Fredericktown, Missouri. Tripp now running up into the thick of things, and we've got a nice little battle here. Ron, we look at those two rookies. There's a lot of really good rookies in the 95 season as they chase down that 1995 STP and Prestone Rookie of the Year Challenge.
I'm going to tell you what, we look at the red and white 33, the Highland Timber car. That's C.L. Jones, the car owner. Harris Devane came within 100 yards or two of winning at Talladega a week ago.
Yeah, the Food World 500K came down to the very last part of the race before he ran out of gas. And oh my goodness, boy, Doug Reed slowed up there a bunch, and number 46, Bob Hill, just hammered him as they were just about at the entrance to pit road. So the caution will come out for the 3rd time here. Boy, it looked like Reed just slowed up dramatically.
Yeah, the previous one, Hill was trying to get underneath him. There was some contact. He got the worst of it. On that one there, I'm not sure Bob Hill had a lot of options. It looked like Reed slowed pretty significantly.
I certainly agree with you there, Ron. There's 52 laps on the Coca-Cola scoreboard, and we'll be back with more ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series racing in just a moment. Bobby Bowser, the 1994 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde champion, has led the early portions of the race here. The ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series in action for the first short track of the season. And while we were in break, Bowser and the 02 of Frank Kimmel came in for some fresh tires. And, of course, we're running exclusively on Hoosier tires in 1995. And, Ron, now we're ready to go back to Green Flag Racing for the third time tonight in this 200-lapper.
Bob Hill in the Clement Chevy Mack Chevrolet, and Mark Gibson and Charlie Newby's Atlas Copco Tools Chrysler. Hill got a good start, but just a car length back is Gibson. A good run for him tonight.
A couple of cars going 2 and 3 wide here on this restart, as we've had 24 cars start this race with only 2 of them falling out so far. So lots of cars out there on the racetrack, and the dicing and slicing gets really tight here. Billy Venerini putting a little bit of a fender there on number 52. That's Ed Dixon, and here comes Randy Churchill down the... Whoa, Churchill spins over in turn number 1 there. Some contact with another car, and Randy Churchill has looped his number 44. We'll see if he can get rolling again, and no, his car is shut off there. Oh, he got it refired, but the caution is out. So caution has flown for Randy Churchill spin down there in turn number 1.
You see the pace car did not get an opportunity to come out, although all the cars have taken the caution and have all come under control. The pace car still sits at the bottom of the racetrack, so it'll be a couple of laps before we can get back going.
We should have a pretty quick restart here because it doesn't appear that there was any debris out on the racetrack. Just Churchill, the position that he was in there on the racetrack was just too dangerous to let him keep racing. So now we're getting the indication that we should be back to racing shortly.
Well, you know, Mark Gibson running third, that's got to make him and Charlie Newby feel good, and Dennis Pulte, the crew chief. Charlie Newby has had probably about as bad a luck as anybody could ever wish to have, and it's nice to see those guys have a good run here in the early going at Pensacola here at Five Flags Speedway.
Well, Mark Gibson drove for Charlie a couple of years back, and he's tried to field his own effort for a couple of seasons, and it's been kind of a hit-and-miss thing. But this year it looks like he's going to be strapped in the seat of that number 7 for every race, and wish those guys the best of luck, as Bob Schacht is now on the inside with Andy Hillenberg, and Bob Hill is your leader.
What happened to Bob Schacht there, Frank Kimmel, he was radioing in, Bob Schacht, was that Frank Kimmel was dropping some kind of fluid, rear end grease, transmission fluid, he didn't know, oil, and he dropped way back off, and when he did finally come into pit, he went a lap down. So Bob Schacht has now come back on the lead lap as he stays ahead of Bob Hill. So
it looks like Schacht's the leader, but that's not the case. Bob Hill is the leader, and Schacht is just back on the tail of the lead lap. And we look back, Bobby Bowser about 4 car lengths back there, or at least 4 positions behind the leader, Bob Hill. And here's Harris Devane doing a pretty good job.
Harris Devane, the peanut farmer from Cuthbert, Georgia. And what a story there. I tell you, I have to just tell you again, he almost won the race at Talladega. They ran 117 laps on the 2.66-mile super speedway, and here he is running in probably only his 5th or 6th ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series event of his career, and he's in a position to win at Talladega.
That was incredible, and he took the white flag as the leader, and the crew's jumping up and down and going crazy on pit road, and when they come around, he was second, unfortunately. But a really good run, and they should be proud of what they've accomplished in the early part of the career. Again, he is running for the 1995 STP and Prestone ARCA Rookie of the Year award.
Saw Dill Whittemore having a little bit of problems there as a couple of guys worked their way around the Indiana Steel car. He had a tough break earlier. He was in practice and qualifying, tore up his primary car, bounced off the front stretch wall, and had to go to his backup car. So, and Dill's still on the lead lap, doing a real good job in a car that he wasn't planning on having to use tonight.
Look at the amount of room that Bob Hill has stretched out on Bowser. The table's kind of reversed here as Bowser takes a look to the inside of Billy Thomas in the number 22. He's trying to take that position away, but Thomas holding a real good low line there going into turn 3.
Billy Thomas, a veteran of the short track wars. He is also the promoter of East Alabama Motor Speedway. He's driving a Gigolo chassis car tonight. He has won on the mile dirt at DuPoint, but on the paid short track, Billy Thomas is not somebody you normally look at to run as strong as he is. He's running in the top 5. Bowser is really working and trying to find a way around him. He seems to be holding Bobby Bowser up just a bit, but he's got every right to that racetrack. He's a lead lap car.
Sure, and he does a good job there, and by pushing Bowser to the outside like that, it may make him use up his right side tires a little bit more, because this is one of the most abrasive racetracks that we run on in the short track season. Just because of the surface it's made with, has a lot of seashells and different things in there, so it does tear up the tires a bit.
You see Bob Dodge in the Numerics Unlimited car there on pit road. They're going to push his car back to the Mar-Hyde Series garage. Bob Dodge out of the race for the day.
Good job by Donnie LeDuc. Talk about having some trouble we had a practice here at Pensacola yesterday, and they broke the camshaft in this motor, and that's the only motor they had with them, so they had to send back home for some parts, get the stuff shipped down here overnight, and they've been up all night working on that race car. So a good run for the Clinton Township, Michigan driver, Donnie LeDuc.
And you saw him, and out of shape, Bill Whittemore.
Yeah, and it looked to me like he got a little bit of a nudge there from Billy Venturini, car number 25. So Whittemore doing the best he can just to stay on the lead lap, and it looks like that has come to the end here, because I'm sure Bowser is, he's getting the yellow flag now and coming around.
And Bill Whittemore stalled on the bottom of the racetrack. Now he's starting to get refired. There he is, Bill Whittemore. He's going to pull back up into traffic, and a bunch of cars have passed him. He has gone lap down, stalled on the bottom.
So Bob Shack gets his lap back here, and Bob Hill ducks into the pits for some fresh tires, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Pensacola. The Roadworks Automotive Chemical Company will be sponsoring this year's mailbox segment. We'll give you the address later on in the program to write in any questions you have about the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. And if your question is used on the air, you'll win a Roadworks jacket and some great other prizes, including Roadworks Automotive Chemicals. Ray Dunlap and Ron Dreger back at Pensacola, and Ron, we're back under green.
Your leader is Bob Shack in the car 75. We talked just before break. We saw Bob Shack pull just ahead of the leaders. He was trying to get his lap back, and what he and crew chief Mike Mack and his car owner Patty Simcoe, what they were hoping for was a caution so he could come back around and pick up at the back of the field. That's exactly what he got.
When Dill Whittemore spun his number 56 over there with a little bit of help from Billy Venturini, that gave Shack the ability to come back around and be on the tail end of the lead lap. And then after a pit stop, some fresh tires, and here we go, back to racing.
Bob Shack maybe now becomes the veteran dean of ARCA Supercar Series drivers. He's got career 17 career ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series victories. Ran his first race in 1971. He is the only driver for the past 14 consecutive ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series seasons to lead at least one lap. Every year for the past 14 seasons, he's been the leader of the race.
That's a pretty impressive stat, and of course over the years Shack has not necessarily run every race of the season, but most of the time when he's there, he certainly is a contender. And right now Bobby Bowser putting some pressure on car number 75. The engineered components Ford goes to the outside, and back in the lead once again is car number 21.
Bobby Bowser, nice move. He drives underneath him, takes the lead. Bowser coming off of just about an unbelievable season, 1994. He had the championship wrapped up at the three-quarter mark unless everything fell apart, and it didn't. They just kept right on chugging along. Jack Bowser, the car owner, Gary Bowser, the crew chief, Todd Bowser, one of the mainstays of the crew. And just ahead of him is Andy Hillenberg. Now, Andy also, like Bob Shack, trying to pick up a lap. He went a lap down in that incident earlier, and he lost a couple more on pit road. So Hillenberg trying to work his way back up. He would like to preserve as good a finish as he can, working on those Bondo Mar-Hyde Series points.
Again, every point is certainly valuable, and Bowser certainly put it through the test last year, as you were saying. He had 18 top 10 finishes in 21 races. That's an incredible statistic.
Yeah, that's unbelievable consistency, and that says a lot about the Quality Farm and Fleet Ford team's preparation, bringing a car to the racetrack that they know is ready to go. And Bowser goes back by Andy Hillenberg. Hillenberg will not be able to pick a lap back up on this attempt here.
PMI Marketing, the sponsorship on car number 11. This is a race car that Andy bought from Kenny Schrader.
Yeah, and Ken Schrader does indeed have a car in this race. That's Ed Dixon's car, the 52. But this is Andy's PMI Marketing car. He's running it. He's planning on using this in a lot of the short track races this season. And showing tonight, other than the incident he's been in, he's running right with the leader.
Yeah, he's got a good, strong car underneath him. Actually, this car, before it was owned by Ken Schrader, was Tim Steele's Oldsmobile, and Steele sat on the pole at this very racetrack just 3 years ago. So this is a strong car, and Andy's certainly showing us that if he hadn't have been in that incident, he might be right up front. But right now, it's Bobby Bowser up front. Bob Shack certainly not letting him get away, though.
Not at all a good race right there. We saw them put a lap on the car number 89, and that car was started by Jeff McClure, the Juice Plus car, and Rick Heiser has relieved him in that machine. Bowser now going to drive underneath the Northtown Auto Caputo Concrete Chevrolet of Billy Venturini. He's side by side with Wally Finney in the Finney Racing Enterprises Oldsmobile.
This is a nice race for Wally Finney to come to because he's from Merritt Island, Florida, not too far to travel. But Wally also comes up into the Northwest and in the Midwest, and races with us in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series on some of the short tracks up there.
Yeah, Wally's a school teacher by trade in Merritt Island. Said, well, this wasn't far for you to come, was it? We're in Florida. He says, you know, Florida's a long state. It took me 9 hours to drive here.
It's a long ways across there for sure. Bobby Bowser, your leader. The sponsor on the back of there, J.R. Perkins Construction. A lot of people that have been with the Bowser team for a long time, helping him out again in 1995 as they try to chase down title number 3 for young Bobby Bowser. But here comes Bob Schacht in this Buick, and he's putting some pressure right back on number 21.
Bob Schacht, the Engineered Components Buick. Arnie Henriksen, a longtime sponsorship supporter of Bob Schacht, and you see the Engineered Components name on the side of the car. Bob Schacht is a guy that cut his teeth and grew up racing around the Chicago, Illinois area. And a lot of great racers coming out of there. A lot of people that are still involved in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series from Chicago. Bob Schacht said, look, I'm going to cut loose of all my strings here in Chicago. I'm going to move down to the Carolinas. I'm going to try to make a living full-time in racing. And that's what he did. And he does a lot of fabrication and body work for a lot of different teams down there. And has always kept alive his team, his race team. And he's in a position now, instead of maybe picking and choosing and running 1 or 2 races or running just speedways or running just short tracks or only renting cars out, he's in a position where if he continues at this level of competition, he might chase points for the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series Championship.
Whoa, a little bit of contact there between car number 11, Andy Hillenberg, and Bob Schacht. So these guys really doing some dicing. Important to remember here, Schacht is racing for the lead if he could get around Bowser. And more contact there coming out of turn number 2. These guys really trading some paint. And Schacht says, man, I think I'll back off here just a little bit. Don't forget, Ron, Andy Hillenberg is currently 3 laps down.
Yeah, Andy Hillenberg, and I'm not sure that Schacht said I'll back off. I think he said, let me see if I can zero in and have a little talk with him.
Maybe he needs to just regroup a bit. There they go back around number 56, Bill Whittemore. Whittemore now a lap down after spinning over there in turn number 2, and Schacht seems to be just a little bit loose when he enters turn 3 there, the car drifting up a bit.
I think it makes a lot of difference how a car gets in and out of the turns, where the line is on the racetrack. If you can let it flow up through the line, you're okay. If you're side by side with somebody, or if you have to make a move around lap traffic, now you get out of your line and the car will skid on you a little bit.
And Bowser's certainly going to have to do that as he's facing some traffic here coming up. Fredericktown, Missouri's Perry Tripp there in the WW Transport car, and also, believe it or not, he's going to probably catch Billy Thomas here and put a move on him. We saw Billy running so well here just about 25 laps ago.
Yeah, that's Keith Whitehead's car, the car number 6.
Oh, more contact between Schacht and Andy Hillenberg. Look at Andy sawing at the wheel there in car number 11. These guys really showing us what short track racing's all about. Lots of contact. You see the left rear bumper there of Hillenberg's car all smashed in, and man, this is what it's all about when you go short track racing.
Well, the PMI Marketing Oldsmobile at Hillenberg is the 11 on the outside, the Engineered Components Buick of Schacht on the inside, and nobody's knocking anybody out of the ballpark here, but I think what you saw there was the 20 years of experience of Bob Schacht saying to Andy Hillenberg, look, I know you're a capable race driver and you can pass me, but if you're going to do it, there's 2 ways. And there's a little taste of what you did, so here we go.
Payback, right? Payback time there. And Schacht is currently running in 2nd place. Bowser now moves up on the bumper of Billy Thomas in car number 22. And here goes Schacht to the inside of Hillenberg. And this traffic could really make a big difference of where you're able to pass. Hillenberg now taking a move and looking on the inside of your leader, Bobby Bowser.
A 250-lap race, and we're moving up toward the 100-lap mark. And Andy Hillenberg, whether he harbors thoughts of getting all 3 of his laps back and winning this race or not, he's running as hard as he can.
Nothing wrong with that, as he just got 1 of those laps back, so Hillenberg will be in position to be 2 laps down. And here comes Randy Churchill with a charge now. Churchill with some fresher tires, possibly, than the leaders as he's moving up on the bumper there of Schacht. Some good race cars coming up there, catching up to him, Billy Venturini included.
So Hillenberg now to the outside of Billy Thomas again. Those are both lap cars. Your leader is Bobby Bowser in the Quality Farmer Fleet Ford. Bob Schacht in the Engineered Components Buick runs 2nd. Right there, just very close to each other, and they're in amongst the big pack of lapped traffic. They're now moving up on Harris Devane's Highland Timber Ford. That would be the first time he's gone that down.
And this is where you really get a lot of experience in this type of racing, Ron. Harris Devane, having not much experience in short track racing of this type with these big, heavy 3,400-pound cars, and I think the best thing for him to do probably is just say, hey, guys, come on around me here and go do what you got to do, even though he is going to go a lap down.
Well, he's holding to the bottom best he can, but now Shack has weaved underneath Billy Thomas. Bobby Bowser got caught behind him, and Bowser has lost the lead to Bob Shack, and now Randy Churchill's moved around Bobby Bowser. He's caught behind 3 cars that are a lap down.
One single lap on a half-mile racetrack or smaller can really shuffle the order, and boy, it's a lot of trouble keeping track of scoring, but that was a pretty simple move there. We saw Bob Shack just take a great line to the inside, and he shot around Harris Devane, and that put Bowser back into second place.
You know, ARCA President Bob Logan, the drivers' meeting, likes to say you got to have give and take, you got to have give and take, and you're seeing a lot of it right here. You got people that want to shoot that hole and want to pass somebody, but you just have to ease back out of it. It's a 250-lap race.
Okay, continuing on with racing here as Bob Shack now has moved into the lead of the Southern 200 laps here on the half-mile racetrack. And Perry Tripp now making a good move to the inside of Billy Thomas. Looks like Thomas's car is just drifting up really high.
Yeah, he seems to have lost the handle. We saw him running right up there at the front of the pack, and now he's had to back off. He has lost somewhat of the handle. Bob Hill in the Clement Chevy Mack Chevrolet is still running real well. He's on the lead lap running in the top 5. And there's Perry Tripp and Harris Devane side by side. Oh, Tripp, a little bit of contact there, but he hung on to it.
He went right up to the wall there in car number 6. Of course, last year, Perry drove car number 33, but this year Harris Devane has been assigned that number, and Perry moves to car number 6. A really good-looking race car. These guys bring a quality piece out each and every week.
Well, they sure do. I guess we'll only run 200 laps then, Ray. That's okay with me.
Hey, no problem. We're going 200 racing laps on the half mile here, and the field is starting to spread out a bit as we take a look at Bob Hill. Hill from Story City, Iowa, and Ron, he had a great accomplishment last year winning the Bill France Triple Crown.
Well, he sure did. Those are for points accumulated at the Springfield, the Illinois State Fairgrounds race, the Talladega Super Speedway race, and the Salem Speedway. The Eddie Gilstrap Motors Fall Classic that'll take place each September at Salem Speedway. Perry Tripp going to make a run on Bob Hill. That's a pretty good shot right there.
Yeah, he does. Perry holds his line down to the inside. A good run there, and they're coming up on car number 89, which was started by Jeff McClure there, the Juice Plus entry. And look at this traffic. Harris Devane to the outside. Bob Hill says, man, I got to go. He puts his bumper right up there, but Perry Tripp holding a nice line there, and probably the slowest car right in that pack is number 89.
3 guys there with a good bit of dirt track experience. Harris Devane, Perry Tripp, and Bob Hill. Whoa! Tripp is out of shape.
Yeah, oh boy, what a squeeze there. He was trying to decide whether to go to the inside of car number 89, and Perry Tripp just lost control there a little bit going into turn number 1 in car number 6. So Henry Wessel puts out the yellow flag in tonight's Southern 200. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back to Pensacola. Ray Dunlap and Ron Drager bringing you the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series race, event number 4 of 1995. And Bob Hill doing a good job here, Ron, in car number 46, running up front. We look back through the records here, and we see that he led the halfway lap. Bob Hill, your Auto Value halfway bonus leader. Auto Value stepping in and sponsoring the halfway lap leader award at all ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series events in the 1995 season. And Bob Hill is really getting a mirror full of Bobby Bowser and Bob Shack. These 3 guys are doing some great racing for these fans here at Five Flags Speedway. So $500 goes into Bob Hill's pocket. He's from Story City, Iowa. He gets the Auto Value halfway lap leader, and right now he's leading a bunch of laps. But boy, I'd hate to have to be in his shoes with Bobby Bowser and Bob Shack chasing you as tightly as they are. Yeah, there's a lot of good experience there, a lot of good racing. Bob Hill, Bobby Bowser, and Bob Shack. And you know, we're back to this old Bob thing. It seems like for years we've had drivers named Bob running up front in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, and here we are again. Yeah, we sure have. Keselowski and Brevac, a couple of the names, and Bob Strait, those 3 guys who have come up through the ARCA Supercar Series and not racing every race of the season with us anymore, but doing some irregular competition. But Bob's up front again, and there's 3 Bobs right in a row. Sure is. Bob Hill drives for Larry Clement. They had teamed up and run the NASCAR Busch All-Star Tour. That's a dirt late model tour out in the Midwest, the dirt tracks of Iowa, and competing against the Kosiski brothers, who are just legendary out there in that series.
Bob Hill has done some great things in that series. Got a lot of poles, a lot of wins, and brought that experience to the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series. And he's run extremely well, even in super speedway races where you wouldn't really think he'd be that competitive. He's running the top 5. He's led races at Atlanta, at Daytona, at Talladega. So Bob Hill and Larry Clement really fielding a good effort here in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series.
I know he sure opened up my eyes. In his very first start with this series, he won the pole at Springfield on the 1-mile dirt track. Of course, that's his forte, being on the dirt, but as you said, doing a great job on the speedways too. And these guys are going to chase down, or try to chase down, the title this season, as they're planning to run every race of 1995.
Well, doing a scoring check, we find that there are only 4 cars remaining on the lead lap, and you're looking at 3 of them right now. The 4th car that's not in your screen is Glenn Brewer, the Columbus, Georgia driver, and he's really done a fantastic job. He did run extremely well in all 3 of the races previously. He's riding 5th in the points.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, and as we said, that new sponsorship on Brewer's Car Roadworks. At the end of the program today, we're going to give you that address to send in any type of questions you have about this ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. It could be about the drivers, the cars, or anything you want to know. And on each of the remaining short track race broadcasts, we'll pick a winner, and we'll ask that question to one of the drivers or a crew member. And if you are that winner, once again, you'll pick up a Roadworks jacket and some great Roadworks automotive chemicals.
Going a lap down, another lap down, I should say, is Harris Devane in the Highland Timber Ford there. Also Randy Churchill in the Dart Machine Beaver Express car. Just ahead in the PMI marketing car is Andy Hillenberg. Now his crew chief we haven't mentioned yet. One of the most veteran ARCA drivers in history, Bob Dotter, a 3-time series champion, over 250 career starts on this series. And Bob is setting the cars up, helping Andy out with a lot of the maintenance and setups on the car, and you couldn't get any more experience than that working for you.
Boy, if you're looking for a crew chief, his name would certainly be on your top 3 list, I would imagine. And Andy said, man, if I'm going to go chase these points, I want to have somebody with a lot of experience, and he certainly got that in Bob Dotter. So we continue racing here with really 3 cars that seem like they're going to be able to chase it down here as we're in the closing stages of tonight's Southern 200. Great racing going on all the way around the racetrack, but right now up front is Bob Hill, Bobby Bowser, and Bob Schacht. And Ron, we look back through the makes of these cars. You got a Chevrolet, a Ford, and a Buick. So parity continues in the manufacturer's title chase for 1995.
You know, as you look at these guys, you're wondering if Bobby Bowser and Bob Schacht have the capability to run up on and overtake Bob Hill, and they're just kind of sitting back and waiting, or if they're running as hard as they can, just hoping that they can catch him so they can pass him.
Well, this racetrack is always a guess on your tires, too. It hardly ever is a problem for you to have enough fuel to go the distance, but whether your tires will or not. So maybe these guys are just hanging back a little bit to see how that works out. Now they're coming up on some traffic again.
That's Rick Heiser in the Juice Plus car, started by Jeff McClure earlier tonight. They're moving up on Hillenberg. They are closing on Hillenberg now. And it looks like maybe Billy Thomas up there just a little ways ahead. Nope, that's Frog Hall.
Yeah, that's Frog in Frog's Import Buick there. And he comes all the way down to Florida from out in Blue Springs, Missouri. So Frog apparently going to chase all the races in 95 also. So sort of a different field of characters in the 95 points race, Ron.
I should say so, and if things continue with the track that's been set so far, you are going to see a bunch of different names in the top 10 when we look at the final ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series point standings, and we go to Birmingham, Alabama for the Series Awards banquet. You're going to see people like Harris Devane and Dill Whittemore, Andy Hillenberg, people who have never chased points. Perry Tripp is going to plan on running every race. John Stratman, who was out of the race early, we didn't get a chance to talk much about John in the BFI Recycle Now car. He's going to probably run every race. We're looking at Bob Schacht now. He's taking a look to the outside of Bobby Bowser. That's the race for second.
Here we go. Things continuing to heat up here. Schacht takes a move there to the outside, and boy, he just blows past Bowser there. But look how high he is up in the groove. That certainly has to be wearing away at his Hoosier Shod Buick there. If he can continue to run that high line. And he does it again down in turn number 1. He's going on the outside there of Glenn Brewer.
He's got Perry Tripp right in his way there up in the high line where he wanted to run.
And now Schacht has to go to the inside, so changing his line all the way around this racetrack. You know, Ron, you made mention of John Stratman there in the car number 57 BFI entry. Of course, they're out of the race already, but John hurt his shoulder a little bit over in Talladega. And we certainly hope that he's able to recover quickly because we got a lot of great...
Look at that move. Look at that move. Bob Schacht underneath your leader, and there he goes. He took the lead from Bob Hill. Split traffic, dove low coming out of turn 2. Bob Schacht is really on fire here as the laps close down. Look at him. Look at him weaving through traffic.
Man, he is sliding all over the racetrack. Here he goes to Billy Venturini's inside, car number 25. Drifts high a little bit. Schacht able to keep it down on the inside line, and this car looks like it's shot out of a cannon.
If we were wondering if somebody was holding anything back, right there's the guy that was. Bob Schacht. He may have been just kind of nursing his tires along, knowing that this last 70-lap green flag segment was going to be very abusive on tires. He may have just ridden in third spot and said, I'm waiting till the end of the race before I put what I got out there.
Yeah, I really think that may have been the case, Ron, because we see a lot of cars sliding high in turn number 2 right now. And look at this. Schacht's able to go clear to the inside of number 52, Ed Dixon, and then hug it down on the inside line. I certainly thought that Bowser had the strongest car here, and we saw a good run from Bob Hill, but boy, nothing like this.
Yeah, Bob Schacht really, I think that's what we're seeing right now, is that he has taken care of his equipment, got down to the end of the race, just the last few laps, and said, I'm going to go ahead and show you my hand now. Oh, and Ed Dixon, the UMP National Late Model Champion, he's really skidding toward the outside wall.
Getting a handle of what this short track racing's like on asphalt. Maybe he needs to take a few lessons on car setup here from some of these guys like Bob Schacht, because, boy, he is just a rocket now. This is the fastest I think I've seen him run all day, and we're in the last few laps of tonight's Southern 200.
And as we look at this race, it was once a 300-lap race over the past 4 seasons. There's never been a repeat pole winner. Rich Bickle, Gary Bradbury, Tim Steele, and this year Doug Reed. There's never been a repeat winner of the race. Gary Bradbury, Harold Fair, and Roy Payne. And tonight, it looks as though we've got just 2 or 3 drivers with a shot at it. Bob Hill, Bobby Bowser, and your leader here, Bob Schacht. And if he would go ahead and win a race, it would be the first one since 1993, ending a victory drought of over a year for Bob Schacht, one of the most experienced and most winning ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series drivers in ARCA history.
So either if Schacht or Bob Hill or Bobby Bowser win it tonight, they'll be a first-time winner here on this half-mile racetrack, because we have had 3 different winners, as you just made note to. A very interesting statistic to have different pole setters and different winners in every race. The only guy to win it from the pole has been Gary Bradbury, who won here last year. So Bob Schacht in command tonight on the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series event number 4. Glad to have you with us on tonight's broadcast. Upcoming races will go to the Louisville Motor Speedway, and the white flag is in the air, Ron. 1 lap to go for Bob Schacht, and it looks to me like he's got this one in the bag.
Going to be the 18th career ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series victory for Bob Schacht, originally from Chicago, Illinois, now from Chapin, South Carolina, in the Engineered Components Buick, and here he comes.
Bob Schacht takes the checkers, and he's the winner of the Southern 200. Back to wrap it up in a moment. To go, it seemed like the car really took off. You and the 46 car and Bowser were all running neck and neck, and then bam, there you went. What happened?
I kept telling my guys on the radio, I said, tell me when there's 20 laps, then 10 laps to go, and that was it. I was going to the front, and that's what we did. You know, I wanted to keep enough pressure on them guys to let them use up their tires, and it worked. I mean, we had better tires at the end, and that's what the difference was.
Tell me about the traffic out there. Pretty awesome, huh?
I think a lot of guys were probably a little more careful through the traffic than I was. I just kind of went through there like a bulldozer, but, you know, we're here, and that's what it took to do it.
So, bulldozer or not, he went to victory lane for career win number 18 in his ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde career. Your SK Tools field summary shows Schacht the winner with Bob Hill second, Bobby Bowser, Glenn Brewer, Billy Venturini, and coming in 6th in number 11, Andy Hillenberg. I'm Ray Dunlap along for Ron Dreger. Thanks a lot for joining us tonight. Don't forget, folks, you can write in with any of your questions and